I decided to make an update to the investing for your children that I'd made a video on a few weeks ago, probably. This here is if you put $1,000 into an investment account, just say the day your child's born. Well, whenever they turn 65 years old, if they make a 10% average, you're going to have right at $500,000. Now, here's something to that. This is theoretical, it could be more, could be less. This isn't financial advice. This is just a scenario. But $500,000 in 65 years is going to be the equivalent of about $50,000 in today's term. This is 2024, January of 2020. No, 2025, my bad. January of 2025. So, if you do that, that's what you can expect. And then I broke it down. You can see just how much a few years matter, and it's the earlier the better. Like in 30 years, it's only $17,000 if you put $1,000 in there. Now over here on this side, I put in $1,000 at the start and $100 a month. It'll make a difference if you don't have that original $1,000 in there, but it's not going to be a whole lot. But you can tell just how much of a difference it's going to be. In 35 years, roughly, you'll have as much as in 63 years. And that'll be 8.4 million. So you can calculate that as, like in today's terms, in 65 years, it'll be like having $840,000. Now, if you want to make this grow and be equivalent to like 8.4 million in today's terms, all you have to do is add the rate of inflation to this $100 a month. So say it's $100 a month in 2025. Well, come 2026, say inflation, we're just going to say for the theoretical term of this, for 65 years, that it increases by 4% a year. So that's a rough average. It may be 2% one year, maybe 8% another year, but just 4%. Well, next year, put $104 in. And then the other thing that this doesn't take into account is chances are you're not going to live 65 years if you have a kid at 20 or 30 years old or something like that. I mean, you'd be 85 or 95. Not saying you won't live that long. I guess I shouldn't say that, but you probably won't have the money to put $100 a month in. But if you did, that'd be great. And that's why I said you need to train your kids to also invest. Well, say you put $100 a month in for as long as you can until they're, say you're 30 years old when you have your kid, or we'll say 20. So you do it for 40 years. Well, at 40 years, they would be worth this amount of money. And then you retire and you're like, I'm not putting $100 a month in anymore. Well, I would hope that you had trained them that whenever they got 20, we're just using this as rough analogy, but when they're 20, they get a job and you train them to also put $100 or $200 or whatever the equivalent of today's $100 in, and this number will be blowed out of the water. And get them to invest. What I tell everybody, and this is just real talk, if you'll start somebody before they have any bills, a house, a car, light bill, water bill, all of that, if you will take and invest 30% of your money out of every paycheck. If you make $1,000, you put $300 in some sort of investment, you will be able to retire with the same similar lifestyle as whenever you're living today. Because this is $100 a month, and say you're making $1,000, just $1,000 a month. I mean, it would be equivalent $100 a month. So you make $1,000 a month. This would be 3 times higher. So you would have almost $2 million in 40 years. Say you started at 20, you retire at 60, or you can go to that. You would have almost $3 million if you waited till you were 65, if you started at 20, if that makes sense. Now, granted, you're probably not going to start out, which $1,000 a month is pretty cheap. You know, that's not a lot of money, but just so you can tell of how this works. Investing is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is for the long term, having money to do what you want when you retire. And I'm not necessarily saying do this and retire at 65. Say you make good money and you know you do this for your children, and then you train your children when they get 20 to put 30% of their money in. Well, they already got a leg up, and whenever they're say 45, 50, if they got $1 million in today's terms money, well, they can enjoy their life more. They can go out, go on vacations, and you know, do whatever. I'm not saying use this money just to blow it and, you know, not have any money, but set it up and start pulling a little bit of money out. I really don't believe in investing and holding until you're 65 years old, and just say you're 65 today and you got $8 million in the bank. Well, if you're 65, you probably don't need $8 million. Not where I live, we're a poor state in all Mississippi. You know, $40,000, $60,000 a year. If you don't have a house payment, car payment, stuff like that, that's a lot of money. Down here, an individual can pay their health insurance, home insurance, you know, gas, water, food, all that kind of stuff. If they don't have any payments, cars, boats, four-wheelers, houses, $1,000 a month, $1,500 will cover it. You know, you could have $2,000 a month and live a very good lifestyle. That's only $24,000. So if you got 40 grand, that's doing good. You got $4,000 a month, roughly. Well, it ain't 4,000, but you know what I'm saying. You got a lot of money to extra to go do things. You know, you and your spouse, say you don't go somewhere, say you want to go to the beach or the mountains or whatever, and for a week or maybe less than that. You know, I'm out of touch with what I'm saying, but say it costs $1,000 a person to go on vacation. Well, if you got an extra $1,000 a month, then if each individual has that, you could go somewhere theoretically every month, or maybe every other month, or every third month. Well, if you take 3 or 4 or 5 vacations for a week long, that's doing pretty good. And it not affect your income, the disposable money. I do not believe that when you get 30, you should quit working. When you're 55, I don't think you should quit working. When you're 65, I don't think you should quit working. I think you should work until the day you die. But do I think you should be a slave to your job or whatever? No. Like, you need to have the freedoms to go and do things. So, I don't know if that's as clear as mud or not, but getting up, going to work, in my opinion, will keep you alive as long as you don't have a real stressful job. Now, if you got a bad stressful job, maybe this will free you up so you can get a less stressful job. maybe you can go from working 40 hours a week to working 20 hours a week. Then, everybody, oh, we need a 3 or 4 day weekend. Well, if you had money like this, it'd be good. And the other benefit of this is if you don't spend all this money, put it in like a trust, or have your kids do it so that it will roll over to their kids. And that's sort of what I was meaning. This here is how you create generational wealth. You do this and let this money roll over, and you do it for yourself. And I know if you got 4 or 5 kids, $100 a month might be a lot of money, and it is what it is. But somebody in your family has to start somewhere, and this is a way to get your children on the fast track to having something, and you have to instill it in them. Whenever you get paid, don't go out and get your fingernails done, get purses, go buy a truck, a four-wheeler, a gun, all that. I'm not saying don't enjoy life now, but if you don't have the 30% to put up, quit buying all those things. Me, I probably invest more like 50 or 60% of my money, because I do somewhere around 20 or 30% of my income into stuff like this. And then I have multiple businesses, and I put another 20, 30, 40% into them. To get rich quick is you got to have businesses and all. There's only really one way that I know to make money, and it doesn't matter. It's like this YouTube here. You got to have time for money. I'm not saying your time, but it could be everybody else's. Like me making this video, say I was monetized. Okay, I'm going to spend an hour making this video. Well, every hour that people watch this video, I can make money on it. So your time is paying me, and that's the same way. Take Walmart or something. Their prices may be cheaper. Well, they do such large quantities. They may serve 300 million people, where your little mom and pop grocery store is only serving the 50,000 in your community. That's the difference. That's why they can make so much money and they're so wealthy, is because they're spread out over everything and making it. Same way with this. If 10 million people watch this, it'll make more money than if 2 people watch it, because time is money. And not meaning that in a bad way or a good way. It's just realistically, time is money. When somebody tells you that, that's somebody that has made it, quote unquote, made it in life. They know stuff, because time is money. Time is the only thing that we have that we don't know how much of it we have, but is worth something. You're going to trade in an hour of your life for 15, 20, 30, 40, $100 an hour or whatever. Well, if I could pay you $100 an hour and I'm billing the customer $150 an hour, and I have 100 of y'all out there, I'm making more money than you, and I'm off fishing or something while you're working making money. That's the end goal. That's how people in businesses make money. And as an employee, you can't get mad at that, because that's just how it works. The business has to make money or they're not going to do it. But that goes back to this. You put your $100 in, it costs you, say you're making $10 an hour, it costs you 10 hours of your time, but you're investing it in 500 different businesses, and it's making you money. You turned this $1,000 over here at one time into $490,000. That's pretty good return. You spent 100 hours on this 1,000, and then how many hundreds of hours would it take for you to get $940,000? That's how you look at it. This is the long run, because you only invested that one, but if you jump over here, you're investing more of your hours, and it's doing better. But I know that probably didn't make good sense, and I may revamp this video and have another one later on, but I love doing this. Get your kids involved and invest for them and make generational wealth. Well, that's all I have today. We'll see you on the next one.